guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things people love.
Good morning.
Time to get ready for your day with the morning warm-up with Trey Lyle. Join us live on VTRN Sports 93.3 FM or the VTRN Sports app. Open VTRN Sports on your smart speaker or stream live on YouTube. Time to get ready for your day with the morning warm-up with Trey Lyle and Ty Tracy.
$7:03. Oh, wow. What a start. What a cough. Thank you, cough. 7:03 on this Tuesday, March 4th. Phillips here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ty is lurking in the background as he points to the sky. He acknowledges his tribal chief. Welcome on into the morning warm-up. This is the only local radio, sports show you'll get for the next couple of days because no Fast Lane today, tomorrow, or Friday because of Virginia Tech baseball. Speaking of Virginia Tech baseball, the voice of Virginia Tech baseball and Virginia Tech women's basketball, Evan Hughes, joining us tomorrow on the morning warm-up along with Bryson Gordon. That's tomorrow. But first, let's get to, in case you missed it, starting in the association with some scores from last night. 106-90, Miami over Washington. Obviously, the Wizards, closest team to us, now 11-49 on the season. Maybe, just maybe, they'll get to a guy we're about to talk about in a minute.
Yep.
The other local team, Steph Curry, was obviously a Charlotte native because of his dad playing for the Hornets. 119-101, the Warriors beat the Hornets in that one. Trailblazers 119, Sixers 102 in a battle of teams that maybe could get Cooper Flag. Hawks beat the Grizzlies on a buzzer beater by Karis LeVert, 132-130. The MVP, I think, of the NBA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, drops 51 and defeats the Rockets. The Thunder get their 50th win on the season, 137-128. Kings beat the Mavs, 122-98. And folks, please hug it. We're going to get to more Mavs news in case you missed it. But in this game, Kyrie Irving goes down with a knee sprain. So if you find a Mavs, so they're out Kyrie Irving and all their centers, including Anthony Davis.
All the fives, all the fours.
Who they traded for in the Luka Doncic trade. So this has gone as bad as possible for the Dallas Mavericks. So if you know a Mavs fan, I don't know if we have any Mavs fans listening. Even if you're like a Kyrie Irving fan, so you root for the team he's on, because I know people that will like root for the team LeBron's on. Like they'll switch. They switch the Cavs and the Lakers. Team. Like just hug them. Console them. Like maybe, we're streaming on the VTRN Sports app and we're live on YouTube. So maybe someone's watching from Dallas right now. So just give them a hug. Pistons 134, Jazz 106. Pistons have been a fun team this year. Shout out to Kate Cunningham, 29, 9, and 4. All right, more scores. I mentioned Cooper Flag. Folks, he's the best. Johnny Boom of Auburn might win Player of the Year. He might. I think he's still the favorite to win the Naismith Player of the Year. But the best player in college basketball resides in Durham, North Carolina, and it's Cooper Flag. Duke. We talked about this yesterday. Duke is just beating the brakes off of teams. They beat Wake Forest, which is a borderline tournament team, 93-60 at home. Cooper Flag with 28, 8, and 7 in this one. I'm going to mention this again. This is Duke's last couple of games. 78-57 against Cal, 106-70 against Stanford, 80-62 against Virginia. They beat Illinois, who's going to make the NCAA tournament. 110-67, Miami 97-60, Florida State 165, Wake 93-60. Sets up a big matchup on Saturday with Carolina Duke, which actually the game you can hear right here on VTRN Sports. And then the other big result in the top 25, number 3 Houston beats, it's weird to see an unranked Kansas that's 19-11, 65-59. And Houston well on their way to be a 1 seed as well in the NCAA tournament. Other news and notes from yesterday. A couple big franchise tags, which we'll talk about the NFL a little bit later on in the show. Bengals officially franchise tagged T. Higgins for the second year in a row, so he's going to get a 1 year, $26.2 million contract. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean he'll get a long-term deal. It just means he'll get, which is the goal. It just means if the Bengals were to trade him, they want something back for him. They're not going to let him go away for free. So you have to consider that. I know yesterday we talked about Deebo Samuel, and would you rather have T. Higgins or Deebo Samuel? I think Ty and I both agreed we'd rather have T. Higgins, but obviously that's not going to happen now with the trade. You're not going to pay. You pay Terry, you pay another receiver $17 million. You're not going to pay T. Higgins at least 26 this year. But so maybe the Patriots look at this. If this doesn't work out as a team to watch, I would assume with this one. Other news and notes, the Eagles did cut Pro Bowl cornerback Darius Slay. Jimmy Johnson, the Fox analyst, announced his full-time retirement. I think Brady's going to replace him. Just throwing that out there because Brady can get out of the booth and Fox can still pay him to be on TV by just putting him in a nice, cozy studio in Los Angeles or New York or wherever it is. And that's the latest headlines, except for the dumbest headline. Speaking of the Dallas Mavericks, I think probably the worst PR move possible. Just you probably were going to do this anyways, but just don't announce it. Just like wait till the offseason. The Dallas Mavericks revealed yesterday that they are raising season ticket prices for next season.
Should have waited.
And here they are raising it by an average of 8.61% next season. And the increase is due to, and I quote, ongoing investments in the team and fan engagement. So, yeah, there's that. We're just going to let you soak on that throughout the next hour. Maybe we'll address it at the end. But for the team that's offering refunds for fans for tickets because of the Luka trade, stupid is what stupid does, I think is the phrase. Later on, we'll have Today in Sports History, which I think will be a 3-parter today. So you'll have 3 opportunities to get. Ty did okay. Actually, no, Ty did awful yesterday. He forgot. He didn't know who Caitlin Clark was.
He didn't describe it well. That's why.
Bro, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
All right.
He didn't say like woman or man. He said this person. I'm like,
this person passed Pete Maravich for the all-time scoring record last season in NCAA basketball.
Did you give him anything else?
And then I kept giving hints. I said, this person is a really big hint because I could have said he. If I said she passed Pete Maravich, then I give it away. Like I can't give you the answer.
I don't know if you can't get. I feel like Caitlin Clark's almost more recognizable name than Pat Riley. I don't know.
Is
that crazy to say?
But everyone knew she passed the score. She topped the scoring record last season.
I just totally forgot.
I was amazed, Ty. I was amazed. And then didn't I ask 2 yesterday? I asked I forgot what I asked yesterday.
It was about Kentucky and Georgia.
Oh yeah, that one I knew you were going to get. So yeah, I asked him a hard one, and then I asked him what was the Southern basically the SEC board before the SEC held the first college basketball tournament, and I asked him to guess the 2 teams. He got Kentucky. He couldn't. I knew he was going to get the other one.
Say Bama.
It was Kentucky and Georgia.
Okay. And
the final score was 20-19. By the way,
classic.
So some old school basketball there. Yeah. So before we get to Duke, obviously tonight Duke, who plays North Carolina on Saturday, takes on Virginia Tech tonight. A game you can hear right here on VTR and Sports 6:30 tip. Hokies. I feel about the same reason with this Virginia Tech game, with the Louisville game this time last week. You're hosting Carolina. It's keep it close. Carolina's going to be the more desperate team. They're a team that is literally on the bubble. They are one of the first teams out, according to Joe Lunardi. And right now, wins are more important than anything else, especially when I have a suspicion that Arkansas and Nebraska might not do well in their conference tournament. Same thing with Oklahoma State, or not Oklahoma State, Ohio State. I was staring at Oklahoma and Ohio State and put them together and created another school. But if you're North Carolina, you got to be desperate here. I think they're going to be the more desperate team. They've looked good of late, considering they've won 5 straight since losing to Clemson, 80. And, I think tonight I probably lean Carolina to cover the 7.5 point spread. And it's more of Carolina than it is Virginia Tech. And, if you're the Hokies, you've clinched a spot in the ACC tournament. And you probably feel pretty good about what you've gotten out of this season. And it definitely is it's definitely quite interesting. Philip, what do you think of this matchup?
Yeah, like you said, like VT, just keep it close. Just going into the postseason, they've already kind of set the foundation for what they want to do and what they can do. North Carolina, what I wanted to see like all season, I think what every fans wanted to see like the last 2 seasons, like if they want to make a postseason run and show they're legit, I think Elliot Cadeau needs to. He's been playing better, especially this season, but obviously the shooting is like an issue. Literally letting the star point guard for the team just have an island out at the 3-point lines, almost crazy. If they want to make a push for anything postseason and establish what they want to do, I think Elliot Cadeau needs to take a leap, even though it's pretty late in the season, and just lead that North Carolina team. I think they, like, balls in their hand, they could do whatever they want if they just lock in.
Talking about the sophomore guard from
Yes.
West Orange, New Jersey.
Oh yeah,
Who's averaging 6 assists, almost a double, or not a double, 10.6 assists, not bad. I like that point there. Look, way to get in the details there, Philip. Obviously, it feels like RJ Davis has been at Carolina since I was a student, but yeah, I think it's a really good point with, if you want to look big picture with Carolina. I mean, it seems to me that it's like Hubert Davis has a really good team, and then a really bad team, and then a really good team, and then a really mediocre team. And I put mediocre at, a certain bar. Like North Carolina's mediocre is what they are this year, a bubble team. Like, it's just is what it is. Now, obviously looking ahead in this week, we'll have Bryson on tomorrow. Talk more about the spring game. We'll talk more about Liberty's game against Middle. That is something to look ahead. And then Virginia, obviously they have a game tonight against Florida State in JPJ in the glorious 9 p.m. tip slot. So congratulations to JPJ. And to me, this is a game I don't want to call it must win, but I think Virginia needs to take care of business tonight. They're 4.5 point favorites. They're facing a like a Florida State team that's on the same level as Virginia, and you need to go out and execute. This Florida State team has lost 3 straight. Granted, it's the Louisville, North Carolina, Duke, so it's not like bad teams bad teams for this conference. And I just think Isaac McNeely needs to have a good night. They'll go as far as he goes. Virginia needs to beat Florida State tonight, 9 p.m. tip, which, that's glorious. What a time to be alive. What do you think?
Sheesh. Basketball players are better than me, because by 9 p.m. I'm already in bed. Florida ain't too far away. If it's coming, it is kind of like a must win if the teams can just take care of business. Like you said, like, it's not a bad. They're sitting behind a couple of good teams, Florida State. So, but they're like kind of already in the grave. So they've lost 3 straight, right? Florida State.
Yep.
Yeah, if they're already in the grave, like, I would want to come in and just try to bury them, whatever I can do, just finish out the season strong. But 9 p.m. tip off, these are the games you'll see like who really wants it more.
Yeah, and if you win, you get to buy the ACC tournament. Like, you think Virginia Tech falls tonight, then you're tied with Virginia Tech and whatever Pitt does. And you could get that 8-9 matchup. And so you get a bye in the ACC tournament. You're not going to get a double bye. You're not going to be a top 4 seed, but you will at least get the double bye, which would be, or the single bye in the ACC tournament. And a good person to break down is David Cunningham. He kind of, even if you're a Virginia fan, he kind of breaks down all the tiebreaker scenarios for the ACC tournament and keeps you updated on that. So we'll have clarity come tomorrow, really, on Virginia and Virginia Tech's path, because they both will be playing. I think it's in Charlotte this year. Correct?
Could not tell you.
Yeah, it's in Charlotte. Thank you, Ty. It's in Charlotte this year, which, as someone who's been, honestly, Charlotte's a great place. That the ACC tournament. I am not of the belief that it needs to be in Greensboro every year, but I wouldn't be opposed to it being in Greensboro every year. But definitely going to be a fun ACC tournament at the top, because I think I have thought about this for a while, and now I'm ready to say it. We're about to get an 0-3 Mello run from the Duke Blue, like 0-3 Syracuse, and it's a little bit different because from what I can remember, Mello was not the clear player of the year in 0-3. Granted, I was not old enough in 0-3, but so that Syracuse team went 30-5. They won the Big East. They were the co-champs in the Big East, and then they won the national championship. So, and they were, I believe, a 3 seed. So I pull it up. They were the 3 seed in the East. And obviously they had Carmelo Anthony, who, really good basketball player.
Maybe just a little bit.
And so ironically, Virginia Tech had to play that team because they were still in the Big East then. 4-12. Yeah. So, but Syracuse finished 13-3, tied actually with Pitt that year in the Big East. But you look at that Syracuse team, you look at this Duke team, and the way Duke is playing of late, I think you take Duke or Auburn over the field. I'm starting to feel that way. And if I had to fill out my bracket right now, and I use Lenardi's bracket as my outline, he has Duke as the number 2 overall seed in the East region, and he would have to play. So if seeds hold, he would have to play Purdue and Tennessee. Basically, that's the top. Those are the top 3 of the top 4, and Texas Tech is the 3 seed. I like Duke in those games. Duke has beaten Auburn too. Granted, that game was in Cameron, and it was a great game. And I would love Duke and a Duke Auburn national championship. I think Duke is poised for the way they're playing of late. The reason why so many people, not this year, but the year before, picked UConn to win the national championship, even though they were a 4 seed, is because they were beating the brakes off of people towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with UConn last year. They're beating the brakes off of teams. And I look at it, and you want to compare them to Auburn. And I know people are going to say the SEC is better and everything. And you're not wrong. The SEC is way deeper. But Auburn's beating the brakes off of teams too, so I can't disagree.
2 really good teams for sure.
I feel like Cooper Flagg, man, he's that dude. He is he might be a white guy from Maine, but if his name was, I don't know, if he wasn't from Maine,
yeah, you'd be.
he's going to be the number 1 pick. Watch him be a Spur. That's a different. We can have that conversation later.
Oh, Spur or Wizard? Which one?
For him, let's hope a Spur. 19-7-4 on the year, shooting nearly 50% from the field. And he's ridiculous. So we're going to take a break. It's 7:23. But yeah, I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves when filling out the bracket. We're about to have the best time of the year, which is conference tournaments. Then we'll have the NCAA tournament. And we'll talk more about this. But telling you right now, there is a... Granted, the conference tournament has to play out, and the Duke could easily fall to they're going to be a 1 seed, but they could easily be the number 3-1 if Houston wins the Big 12 and I don't know, Tennessee wins the SEC or something like that. Because Tennessee's actually, you know what, that bracketology is not updated because Tennessee is now a 1 seed. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, because when they beat Alabama, they flipped those. So ESPN needs to do better. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Auburn, Tennessee, Duke, Houston. So it would be Duke, Florida, Texas Tech, Michigan would be their top 4 seeds. I'm looking at Lenardi's late. I should have looked at Lenardi's latest bracketology. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, a 3-part Today in Sports History. Can Phillip or Ty get it right? I think you'll get one of these. I feel pretty good about
3 for 3.
We'll see. This is one of them is challenging. All right. This is the morning warm-up, 7:24.
If you don't love your car, then you're simply just driving the wrong one. At Terry Volkswagen, Terry Subaru, Terry Auto Outlet, and the Terry Clearance Center, we've got the perfect new or used car for you. We make your car buying experience easy. Need help with imperfect credit? No problem. Our team works hard to get you approved and back on the road. Because when you shop at Terry, you drive away happy. Visit us at any of our 4 locations or online at terryautogroup.com. Terry Auto Group. You'll love our cars.
The Black Crows, Mount Joy, Government Mule, JJ Gray, and Mofro. Need us to continue? The California Honey Drop, Larkin Poe, Future Bird. And that's just a handful of acts performing at Floyd Fest 25, Aurora, July 23rd through 27th at Festival Park in Floyd. Get your tickets at floydfest.com. Winner of the Best Music Festival. More acts will be announced soon for Floyd Fest 25, Aurora. Get your tickets now at floydfest.com.
Imagine a community where every homeowner feels heard and valued. That's the feeling you deserve, and that's the feeling you'll get at Brownstone Properties. Our dedicated team is here to support you, ensuring clear communication and proactive solutions. Transform your homeowners associations. Call Brownstone Properties today for a free consultation. Brownstoneproperties.com and 3720 Old Forest Road in Lynchburg. Let's build a better community together.
Good morning. We are just getting your day started here on VTRN Sports with the morning warm-up. Stay connected at Trey Lyle VT and Ty Tracy 90 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen wherever you are with the VTRN Sports app or watch the show live on YouTube at youtube.com/VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, back to the morning warm-up.
7:26 on this Tuesday, March 4th. Welcome back to the morning warm-up. Trey Lyle, Phillip Doss, Ty Tracy, overseeing Phillip's internship training. It feels like I'm like the proud Papa Pup, seeing his baby cub train the next one.
Yeah, both my dads.
Well, not that old yet. Like older brothers.
Yeah.
But couple, two, in case you missed it, that I forgot to mention in the first segment, that are significant. Pete Thamel, I know David Teal talked about, added some reporting. Andy Staples added some reporting. Basically, all the key figures plus that would have connections to this. Florida State and Clemson voting on today. Essentially, they're going to accept it. An agreement that would ultimately result in the settlement of the ongoing lawsuits with the ACC. And the ACC presidents are going to set to vote on new terms and a new TV money distribution. Basically, 40% of the TV money distributed among legacy ACC schools, 60% by ratings based on a formula over the last 5 years. Shout out to the TV slot champs from the Cover 3 podcast. Top ACC earners will net more than $15 million, while some schools will set a net deduction in annual payout about $7 million. That's $15 million more than what they would get and $7 million less than what they would get. Total cost to exit the league. So the big thing is the exit cost has now become more clear. It appears that starting now, it'll be over $200 million, but then in 29-30, when the SEC and the Big Ten contracts are up, hint, hint, it will drop below $100 million. When the SEC and the Big Ten contracts are up, it will drop below $100 million. And I say that twice because everything has a reason. And I wonder if you have to put an over-under on the ACC, having Florida, all its big schools, the next 5 years, I'd put 4.5. I'd probably put 5.5. So 2031 being that key date. So don't be shocked. Just saying, it's like the ACC gave itself, I'm trying to, like, life support for 5 years or something. Like, I don't know. And it's good in the short term of the ACC because it clears up. Florida State and Clemson will be a part of your league for the next 5-6 years. But long term, it seems like the SEC or the ACC is walking down a path where at least Florida and Clemson will be gone. And I would assume the likes of, if you want to say the Magnificent Seven, Virginia Tech, which theoretically will be paired together because the last time we had big conference realignment was Virginia Tech. Reason Virginia Tech got into the ACC is because state legislators forced it. And then you have North Carolina State, and that's 2, and Miami would be the 7. And we'll see what happens. So now I think the bygones will be your Boston Colleges, Wake Forests of the world, but there's that. And then the net rankings got updated for Virginia schools. Not surprising, at the top of the list. I think we've established they are clearly the best team in the Commonwealth. That is VCU. George Mason at 74, Liberty at 75. So Liberty, despite the loss to Kennesaw, actually making gains and might be able to jump George Mason as the second best team in the Commonwealth. According to the net, the keyword according to the net, UVA at 102, Virginia 155, JMU at 156, Radford at 166, Norfolk State 179, and then the bad teams, William Mary 207, Longwood 209, Hampton 217, Richmond 250, which disappointing season for Richmond, VMI 307, and ODU at 320. Obviously, first year for former Virginia Tech assistant Mike Jones at ODU. All right, we're going to do today in sports history. And folks, good news. We're going to have new drops. They have been sent in. I have to edit them. So we'll have drops for, in case you missed it, today in sports history, Friday hypothetical. So all the segments, we're slowly starting an ad here on the morning warm-up. And would you like to go with the oldest one first or the newest one first, Philip?
Let's go oldest.
All right. This happened in 1927.
Oh.
This player became, this should be easy.
Okay.
Should be easy. Because the key is 1927. This person became the highest paid player in Major League Baseball history with the Yankees. Thank you, Philip. I mean, yes.
I was about to say like Joe DiMaggio or something crazy.
I wouldn't have been a bad guess, but it's Babe Ruth. It's just anytime you hear 1920s in the Yankees, just guess Babe Ruth.
Okay.
Listen to this contract. 3 years. $70,000 per year.
Hey.
Shohei Ohtani is like, that's like one at bat for Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, you might get that in a BP session.
So Juan Soto's contract, just to put in perspective, is 15 years, $765 million. Gee. And it can get up to $800 million. So what's crazy is his signing bonus was $75 million. Just saying. All right.
It's like a lot of NFL players, like 5-year max contracts, basically.
I think that's the veteran minimum in the NFL is like $70,000.
Baseball money's insane.
Well, yeah. And, Babe Ruth, obviously a really good baseball player. All right. We're going to keep going down the timeline. Now we're going to 1993.
Okay.
This event was held in Madison Square Garden in New York City, and it has been an annual event honoring sports, the year in sports. Keyword is honoring the year in sports. So what would be something? So what would be honoring the year in sports? Like what, or honoring like the Oscars?
The ESPYs.
There we go.
Oh, let's go.
Philip is 2 for 2.
Let's go, baby.
Here we go. Can he go 3 for 3?
Let's go.
I think this is the one I thought you were going to get. This player became the first player since Michael Jordan in 1989 to have 4 consecutive triple doubles, and the first since Jordan that year to have back-to-back triple doubles with at least 40 points.
Back-to-back triple doubles. Russ?
Oh, yes, it was Russell
Okay.
Westbrook.
Okay, I was about to
Westbrook
say.
set a career highs with 49 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists, helping the Thunder beat the Sixers 123-118 in overtime.
Miss Prime Russ.
That happened in 2015.
Yeah. he ain't
So there
seen
we
that
go,
no
3
more.
for 3.
Let's go, baby. Starting the morning off strong.
Should I give you one more and see if you can get this one? Because this one I thought about doing.
Let's put the money in. Let's do it.
All right, he's going all in. This school, which is a small Northwest school that at the time beforehand was delivering big on the NCAA tournament stage, finally ranked number 1 in the AP Top 25 with at the time a 29-2 record and in 2013.
I thought it was Gonzaga.
Gonzaga?
Yes, that's it. That's when they first became the number 1 team in the country.
When were they ranked number 1? Like
So
current?
on
No.
this date in 2013
Okay.
was when the first time Gonzaga got number 1.
Okay.
Obviously,
cool.
they've been number 1 multiple times since then because they obviously had the undefeated season.
Mhm.
They were the number 1 overall seed. Like so that was just it's kind of tricky, but they were for the first time they became the number 1 team in the country,
Okay.
which they became the 57th school to be ranked number 1 since the AP poll began in 1949.
You said they undefeated. I forgot who they lost to. The first loss.
They lost when they were the undefeated year. They lost in the national championship.
Okay, yeah, that's what I said.
Remember that was they lost to. Who
Not
did they
Villanova.
play? No, because Suggs hit the 3 against UCLA.
Oh,
That was the 21 tournament
who they playing in tournament?
because they got Baylor. They lost to Baylor in the national
Mm.
championship.
Yeah, I was thinking about Wichita State when they played against Kentucky one time.
Yeah,
When Kentucky came out hot and they went to they made
that was a 1-8 matchup.
yeah, that's what I remember.
Wichita was undefeated. So Ty deciding not to be too near a microphone, talking about the time that Kentucky, as an 8 seed, beat Wichita State, who's undefeated, with Ron Baker, and
Yeah.
I think they had Fred VanVleet on the team.
Oh,
So,
crazy pull.
Hey,
Well, no, not it.
I mean, we could have a whole show of just starting to name random NCAA tournament stars.
Yeah.
I mean, shout to you. You mentioned, was it you who guessed Jimmer Fredette? No,
No.
he guessed Jimmer. That was it. He guessed Jimmer
a good
Fredette,
pull.
and the year was I said last year
I didn't pick
Whoa.
or 2 years ago.
I
I
didn't
said
pick this last
2023.
Whoa.
I said Jimmer Fredette was not playing college basketball in 2023.
He's like in Japan somewhere.
Yeah, he's playing in China. Well, he's big on the 3-on-3 teams for the
Yeah.
U.S. But Jimmer, it's just you could start naming random college basketball players. Nothing bad. That's what that's what you do. All right, Phil, time to use your expertise when it comes to college football.
All right, let's see what we got.
It comes to Liberty. So spring game on Saturday, maybe a showcase. Coach Chadwell said he still sees value in a spring game. And, obviously Texas coming out saying we're not going to do it. Nebraska coming out saying they're not going to do it. They're still going to do something for the fans, but they're not going to do the spring game. And I know you've talked about this a little. We've talked about this a little bit, but I do want to revisit. Were you able to go to the spring game?
I was not. I caught some clips of it though.
Okay. Ty was there, right? Yes. Okay. Cool. We can do this. What did you think of the spring game as a whole, or do you think the spring game still can bring value to a team, Ty?
Yes,
after watching it.
I believe you can still bring value to a team because there's a lot of evaluation they got to do. I think, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think just me, Bryson Gordon, and Ed was just talking about it, and we were just going more depth. I feel like the quarterback still is no answer for the quarterback. All 4 of them still look questionable. Receivers, I feel like they didn't show too much that Saturday. I think the whole offensive lineman and some running backs still need still questionable to me. So it's still kind of like they still need to do more evaluation on the offensive side of the ball. Defense look pretty good. I think the up front is gonna look so good during the season 2025 because you got a lot of veterans coming back. But it's just the offensive side of the ball is more question because you got to think about you don't got Quinn Cooley back there, King Sawyer, and sorry, I think the receiver's still questionable since CJ Daniels been gone.
Philip, I do want to ask you about the O-line because, and obviously you've been in that room for the last couple of years. First, Harry Hayes gets snitched on by Ed Lane.
Harry Hayes
because of an excessive celebration penalty, apparently. So Ed snitched on him.
Oh, man, can't have that.
What are your thoughts? You're now in the awkward spot that you're interning with Ed, but Harry. So are you going to defend your boy or are you going to defend Ed? Like, did Ed do the right thing there? Or do you think you need, maybe next time you see Ed, you need to be like, hey man, what's the deal?
I don't know. Like you want to keep the players in confined lines, have them doing what they need to do, but at the same time, like you want to see the boys having fun. If you see your O lineman having a good time, I think the rest of the team's gonna get good vibes off of that. And Harry's really one of the leaders in that room, and seeing him have a good time, I'd fall right behind him and do the same thing. So I can't really be mad at anybody for this.
So you're saying Ed's okay to snitch. He's going to get up downs apparently.
It's going to happen anyway for sure for something.
Okay, and you would still celebrate. So I think like I'm okay with celebrating in football. Like it's some of the funniest moments are the gun celebrations like that. They gets thrown a penalty.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I think it's football. Like let them celebrate. But Ty brought it up, the offensive line, and you've obviously worked with the O-line coach, and obviously there's a lot of changes going on in the offensive line. So as someone who has, and I don't want you to be like, I don't want you to like offer insight that you can't. I don't want to put you in a bad place, but for our listeners out there, because you can bring a perspective that Ty and I cannot, because one, you just have played for this team. What is that O-line room like, and like what's your assessment of how this coaching staff evaluates offensive line play and how they develop offensive line play?
Well, Coach Dirk likes players. He wants players that are nasty. He wants players that can move, and he wants guys that don't think all the time and can just go. And that's who he's going to recruit a lot. And they have a really athletic room. And I love the spring game. I'll always be behind it, but it's really for the offense every year. And when you come out and see a spring game or you're even in practice, I'm sure Ty could experience this. The defense knows all of the offense's plays. So even in the spring game, the defense was doing a pretty good job. Like they know all the plays, like what's happening. Of course, there's injuries going on. Everything like that. But during the spring, especially the game, you're trying to just putting together different combos, just sending out O-line units. That probably won't be the same when you get to August. You're just trying different things out. And it's really like an experimental phase, kind of. You'll see a lot of the same players, but they're evaluating, like they are evaluating who they want up front when it comes August and July. And they want to find the nastiest five you can find out there. That's really about it. But Coach Dirk definitely, even if they're not doing the greatest job through the spring game, it's just evaluating, seeing who pass sets the best, who run blocks, who stays straight in their pass sets, just different stuff like that. So it's really just a big like evaluating game. But definitely, like you don't want to be on the wrong side of Coach Dirk.
So I do want to ask you about this offense because you know the playbook. So I can ask you, and I, as someone who is watching Chadwell's time at Coastal, turning Grayson McCall, which clearly I think Chadwell deserves even more credit after watching his time at NC State, which you have to add with a grain of salt because of the injuries that Grayson McCall experienced.
Should have gone to the league earlier.
I mean, well, he went right back to coaching, so I don't think he was going to go to the league at all. I think he got a nice bag from NC State, so I think he was okay. Kind of like the Dylan Gabriel thing. Mm-hmm. So I think he made the right decision necessarily. But this is the concept of this offense is the triple, but it's in spread. It's like if the spread and the triple option had a baby.
Yeah.
I think is the best way to describe it. You as an offensive lineman, is it a lot more like RPO style where you're basically run blocking 85% of the time, but just don't know if a pass is coming or if it's an option play or if it's a inside zone? Like is it something in which like, it's more like a typical, I don't want to say pro style offense where you're mixing in run block and pass block sets?
You'll have plays where we'll all know like, oh, it's gonna be a pass, like a third and long, second and long type of deal. But
obvious passing downs.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's multiple plays where we'll have we'll know what we're doing, and it's gonna be a run play every time, but there might also be some crazy play action or pass option out in the flat or just somewhere out wide. But the position like where you really need to know which is what and what you're doing is at tackle, because there's a lot of like releases and just different hinges you have to do to get up to the second level. But most of the time, Coach Dirk says like everything ends with a run. So it's a run block every single play, and it might be a pass play, but that just shows the aggression they want to implement on the O-line. So to us, everything's a run play. Even if for a pass, I don't know, even for a pass play, you want to treat it like a run, slow play action, get them on their heels. If they're going to think it's a run, throw it over the top, see what happens. But with us, we don't want anybody standing around. So usually, again, like everything's a run play.
So one, you've made me think of the Friday hypothetical for this week, which I'm going to say it right now to get you two mentally prepared, which is we're going to take the Liberty offense and put it in the NFL. And you can basically, as if you could just build the entire team, like any player in the NFL. Like, for example, you could have Penei Sewell and Lane Johnson, two tackles. Like, just imagine that, because that's a very complicated question. There's a lot of players in the NFL, obviously, and I want to see how, and maybe we'll also do the Virginia Tech offense, which is essentially the Tennessee offense, and we'll do the Virginia offense, which is the old school Clemson offense. I think that's what we're going to do for Friday hypothetical, just to get you two ready. I know Ty. I'm assuming you're both to be here on Friday. I know Ty at least will. So
Gotcha.
Ty, think about that. You might want to write stuff down. All right. Looking at this team and looking at the offenses, Philip, former Liberty offensive lineman, hence why we're breaking down the spring game in kind of a unique way. We'll talk with Bryson tomorrow more about what he observed from the quarterback battle. Philip probably could break down quarterbacks pretty well. I'm assuming he knows ball.
More or less.
But I want to know, offensive line is so important. And last season, as someone who was in the room, how did you feel like, the offensive line was, I would say solid. I think they would admit they probably had a performance dip from the previous season. Granted, they still ran the ball really well with Quentin Cooley. Where do you think the offensive line needs to grow heading into this season from last season?
If I was looking at it from a coaching perspective, O-line is always going to be the closest position group on the team. Everybody knows each other. They'll probably hang out the most, besides maybe for the D-line, but we don't really mess with them. My fault, Ty. Just kidding. But if I was looking at it from an outside perspective, run blocking, they'll continue to get better at. I think they'll have a really good year on the run, in the run game. They've had a crap ton of running backs. They'll have Juju Gray back there too. Pass blocking is probably the biggest part I'd want to see more of. They've brought in a couple new receivers, but at the end of the day, you want to run the ball the whole game, but you just can't. But giving Vasco or whoever's in the backfield time and space to survey the defense and figure out what he wants to do, you need time, and the O-line needs to give him that time. So that's something I would want to see, just work on, I guess you could say better pass protection, but I know Coach Dirk will get them right, and they'll be ready come July and August.
Yeah, and Bryson broke down, I guess, the first team offensive line, how they lined up to start the game. Jack Tucker, left tackle, Andrew Johnson, left guard, center Aaron Finnemore, who returns, Harry Hayes at right guard,
Hunter Porterfield.
Hunter Porterfield
Yes,
at
sir.
right tackle. Is that your boy?
Yeah, I love
Oh,
him.
Okay. So this offensive line and Philip, I don't want to say it's a work in progress, but this point of the year, it's a work in progress. It's spring, or well, air quotes around spring. But do you have faith that Liberty's unique in terms of expectations? I've been over this.
Yes.
Like they have Alabama, Georgia like expectations of in conference of being, 13-0, and
Yeah.
it's just it's basically impossible. Okay, the only person to consistently be 13-0, meet 13-0 expectations is Nick Saban, and he's the greatest coach of all time. And I don't think
Urban Meyer.
I don't, or Urban Meyer. And I hope Jamie Chadwell doesn't take offense by this because we haven't seen it yet. You're not Nick Saban or Urban Meyer. He might be. If Liberty fans get upset by this, he might be, okay? But I'm just saying, there's only one Nick Saban, okay?
Yeah.
There's one. That's it. We've seen one, okay? But the improvement, you touched on what they needed to work on. Do you think, just as an offensive lineman, the most important thing is just time together? It's just like you talk about the closeness of the room, but like playing together, like something we've seen, like the better offensive lines. Like look at Philadelphia.
They've been together a while.
They've had Jeff Stoutland, but and I know this is me comparing the best offensive line in football, like one of the best offensive lines maybe we've seen in the history of football, this Philadelphia Eagles team this past season to Liberty. And I would not expect their offensive line to look nearly as good. They've just like Jeff Stoutland's maybe the greatest offensive line coach of all time, but I'm using this as the example because the left tackle, the left guard, the center, and the right tackle played together for at least 3 seasons or 2 seasons. The left tackle and the left guard are best friends, and the right tackle is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And they put in right guard a guy who was a first-round pick at left tackle in the NFL,
6'8",
and a freak,
300,
and a
400
freak,
pounds.
like a freak of all freaks. Like let's put it this way: Philip, who's a dog on the football field, self-admittedly, if he had Mekhi Becton's size and speed, he would not be here right now. And even if Philip had the most holding calls in like college football history, he would still not be here right now. You'd be in the he'd be getting ready to get drafted,
Indianapolis or
right?
something.
Because the NFL just. But my point being, the time to gel. How important is that? And how is that just something that will come natural, and sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't?
Yeah, I would say the period between, it's a small period, just like from the spring to the summer, you might see a lot of guys exit the room and enter. But definitely after the season, when you really establish the guys that are going to be in the room with you, after maybe a season or two, the time you spend with them during the winter workouts, that's when you get really close with the guys. Spring break leading into summer, that's like really the gel time. And a lot of times as an offensive lineman, you want to see that with your QB as well. I remember back in high school, we'd have pancake Saturdays or pancake Fridays with the QB. If we didn't allow like any sacks or QB pressures, like we're over at the QB's house eating pancakes, just enjoying each other's company.
So you want me to start making you pancakes or something? Is that what you're trying to say?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a little flapjack. I don't know. Like
Today
can't go wrong with it.
Today is National Pancake Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You can get free pancakes at IHOP.
You can't beat that.
All right. We got to go to break because it is 7:51. So we're almost wrapping up here. So we're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. Phil Doss, good job, man. Giving some great insight
Sir.
on offensive line play. See, we can break down ball here on the morning warm up.
Oh, yeah.
When the thrill of playing ball turns into the agony of a broken windshield or window, contact Apple Auto Glass. Your local auto glass repair shop on Allegheny Avenue in Lynchburg, Apple Auto Glass provide a professional assessment with the honesty from your neighbors, so you can get back to sharing the great moments this season. We're here with Colt from We Fix Stupid Computers. Colt, to go along with your residential or individual walk-in services that you offer, you also do a lot of business IT support. How about you discuss that, and what specifically do you do to help businesses in the area?
We see a lot of that. Small to medium-sized businesses, they still have their IT projects. They still need resources to help them within their office and for remote users. And so we'll step in and fill in the gap where we do a lot of projects for them, help them manage their resources, their budgets, and get their technology under control.
Colt, how can these people reach out to you to assess their IT needs?
Call us. Our number is 434-525-8590. Our website, wefixstupidcomputers.com. We're on Facebook. And our office is here locally, 14690 Forest Road, right next to Scott's Cabinet on 221.
Good morning. We are just getting your day started here on VTRN Sports with the morning warm-up. Stay connected with the show at Trey Lyle VT and Ty Tracy 90 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen wherever you are with the VTRN Sports app, or watch the show live on YouTube at youtube.com/VTRN Sports Lynchburg. Now, back to the morning warm-up.
So, what a segment we just had. Philip, if in case you missed it, you're just tuning in now on 7:54 on the morning warm-up. Philip broke down offensive line play, especially for the Liberty, being a former offensive lineman, and how that will work for the spring game. More observations about the spring game will come tomorrow. About 7:20, we'll have Bryson Gordon from newsadvance.com on. We'll also have the man, the myth, the legend, the GOAT, Evan Hughes, voice of Virginia Tech baseball, voice of Virginia Tech women's basketball. And speaking of that, later on today, 3:30 airtime, we'll have Virginia Tech baseball as they take on Norfolk State. We have their game tomorrow as well at 2:30. So no fast lane the next 2 days. And then we'll also have Virginia Tech, North Carolina later today, 6:30. And then Indiana, Oregon at 8:45 tonight. So a lot of plenty great action here on VTRN Sports. Let's make a pick real quick. I picked it earlier. I dropped the hint. I'm taking Carolina to cover tonight against Virginia Tech. Especially if Toby Lawal doesn't play, I think he will. He was just battling a flu. I think this is going to be a game which Carolina covers late, but Carolina covers.
It's in Blacksburg, right?
Yes.
I'm going to say Carolina too.
Whew. Yeah. I mean, they're just the more desperate team. They need to win this time. Like, they cannot afford to do what Wake Forest did last week and lose to a Virginia or Virginia Tech. So I think there. And then I think Virginia, I'll even give them the cover tonight. I think they cover the 4.5 point spread against Florida State. I think they'll give a good showing in their, I believe, their final home game this season. Yes, their final home game this season. So that I think they win, they get to 500. So at 15-15. So I think they get it done. What do you think, Philip?
I think they can take care of business.
All right. Boom. Do you want to pick Indiana, Oregon, since we're airing that game?
I'm taking Oregon over Indiana.
Ooh.
I think they can pull that out.
I'm gonna take Indiana. Indiana. Oregon is actually a 6.5 point favorite, so I'll say Indiana covers. Obviously, Mike Woodson leaving, not going to be the coach next year, but then Oregon gets the dub there as well. So
there's so much uncertainty over in Indiana. It could go either way. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're one game back of each other in the Big Ten, so who knows? But that's the games for today. We'll see if any news breaks after the show, which obviously it will, and we'll talk about that more tomorrow. Fun packed show tomorrow. So we'll probably do today in sports history in the first segment, just to warn you boys. We'll see. Good job today. You got it right. So, but man, I think we're in store for some fun fun basketball. And just to update everyone, I haven't mentioned the OV goal update left because he hasn't scored in the past couple games. He is still 11 goals away from setting the mark by Gretzky. So just to keep that in mind. Philip, any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
Have a great Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. Yeah,
It is Tuesday.
we have a presentation today. Let's go. Let's do it.
On what?
Sport finance.
Sounds like fun.
Oh, yeah, so
I
much.
remember having to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I did a project for Bill Roth where we had to create it was an analytics project, but we had to create an event, and it was actually nuts. This was before the fight was announced.
Oh.
Me and my group decided to plan out the Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather boxing match. And we designed the ring. We decided to do Burger King as a sponsor because you could use it on one of the old school fight night games.
Yeah.
You could play a playable character you could unlock was the Burger King guy. So we had him as a sponsor. We built the ring. We had Monster. I think we had Monster T-Mobile in the ring. And obviously we said we got the venue right. We got 3 or 4 aspects of it right. The weight class, the venue. It was actually a really fun project. So good luck on your project there.
Yes, sir.
Ty, good job today. Being wise. Coming up next on VTRN Sports is VSiN by the book. So betting analysis, great other analysis by VSiN. Reminder, no fast lane today due to Virginia Tech baseball, which starts at 3:30 later on today. So for Ty, Philip, my name is Trey Lyle. Signing off for now. We'll be back on a jam-packed Wednesday edition of the Morning Warm-Up. Thanks so much for listening to the Morning Warm-Up on VTRN Sports, 93.3 FM, W227 BG Timberlake, and 1320 AM WVGM Lynchburg.